Hi, my name is Lisa Meyer, and I'm the co-president for the Statesville Chamber of Commerce. And we have an interview series interviewing the candidates. And I'm here today with Trey Robertson. He's the candidate for the at-large seat on the Statesville City Council. Hi, Trey. How are you today?
Hey, thank you so much for having me in.
Yeah, very excited. So what we'd like to do first is go ahead and just have you tell us a little bit about Trey. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Sounds good. So I'm Trey Robertson. I'm one of the candidates for Statesville City Council at Large, as was mentioned. I'm an Iredell County native. I was born at Davis Hospital, went through Iredell Statesville school system, graduated in '08, and then I went to United States Military Academy at West Point. I graduated there in 2012 and commissioned into the Field Artillery in the U.S. Army. And I was stationed overseas in Korea for a while. I deployed to Afghanistan and then ended up at 101st Airborne Division out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky. In 2022, I got out of the Army and came back home, back to Statesville. So I like to say I could go anywhere, I could have done anything, but I decided to come back home. And I was really lucky that I was able to find a job in my level, or in engineering. And so there's a company called Kozlowski Advanced Manufacturing over by the airport, and we do metal 3D printing and machining. And so I'm an engineer over there. So it's wonderful that I was able to come home, get a great job in my hometown, and I'm able to build a great life that way. And part of the reason I want to run is so that I can do that for everybody else. So I'm from here, I live here, I work here, I go to church here, I'm in the American Legion post here. I do life here in Statesville. And so when I got back, I immediately got involved in everything I could. And so currently I've got a shop in downtown Statesville called Bee and Barrel. So I'm a small business owner. I know what it's like to start a business in Statesville. Mm-hmm. And then in civic life, I'm on the county's Board of Adjustments, and I'm on the city's planning board. And then I was just recently made the chairman of Downtown Statesville Development Corporation. So I'm a heavily involved person. I'd like to think that I bring that experience to the table wherever I go, and hopefully the next place I can bring that experience is to Statesville City Council.
Wonderful. Thank you. Sounds like Statesville DNA through and through.
Very much so.
Well, our first question for you today is, what do you think the city does well from a service provision standpoint, and what are the most glaring needs, in your opinion?
So what we do well is what we are naturally inclined to do best. A city really does well if it sticks to civil engineering. I think I've heard a few other people say that as well, is we do roads well, we do sewer well, we do sidewalks and water well. And we do best when we stick to those core competencies. Everybody's got some sort of fun, whiz, bang, wow, pet project that they want to do, and that's fine, and we can do some of those. But what we really do best is when we stick to some of those engineering concepts, we stick to those critical services of the utilities, making sure that those are squared away and that those work properly. Now, what people like to do is they like to cut red ribbons in front of big projects. And that's fun, and it looks good, and you get your face in the newspaper. But the important part, the responsible part, is the maintenance of those. Mm-hmm. And that's not cool. And you don't always end up on the front page of the paper because you authorized a water line redo. But we've got a lot of maintenance projects going on in the city right now. And we've also seen what happens if we don't do those maintenance projects. The sinkhole is a great example of those. What would have happened to downtown if the water mains in downtown had not been replaced about a decade or so ago? Mm-hmm. We couldn't have felt those fires with those old terracotta pipes. And so one of the things that I really would be insistent upon on city council is that not only do we put that money into making sure that we do new projects, but we really take a deliberate approach to maintaining the infrastructure we already have. How many times do you walk around the city and step over broken sidewalks in neighborhoods that have been paying taxes for 40, 50 years? The most inexpensive thing we can do to make sure that the appearance and the functionality of the city works well is fixing a sidewalk. And so making sure that we've got all of the infrastructure to make sure that water and sewer works, that's the big ticket stuff, that the power lines work, that's important. But we can also do that on small levels, and just that attention to detail from the smallest level to the highest level that really is the stuff that runs in the background that you may not think about every day, but you sure think about it when it doesn't work. And so that's something that I really think we focus well on, and we're going to do even better on that when we've got a maintenance-focused mindset.
Wonderful. Thank you. What is your definition of smart growth, and what is your general philosophy on the growth currently happening in Statesville today?
Oh, that's a fantastic question, because everywhere you go, everyone's talking about this stuff. So smart growth, the way I want to think about that first is there's a a map that we've got that the county has produced for us, and it's a value per acre map. And it's still getting refined, so it's not something that you might be able to pull off of the website or anything. But what it does is that's an incredibly useful tool for municipal government to identify areas where the growth benefits Statesville and the areas that the growth does not benefit Statesville.
Okay.
And so smart growth can mean, like any phrase, it can mean different things to different people. But the most important component of smart growth is that we're identifying the patterns of development and the patterns of construction that benefit the city and benefit the people in the city. So there are certain areas of that tax map where you're going to go, man, I thought that was a really good, expensive project. We're probably making money hand over fist. But what it shows you is that pattern of development really is not a very cost-effective solution considering how much infrastructure has to go into the ground. Because everything you see above the ground has to be able to pay for everything that goes under the ground. And so if you've got a lot of these developments on the outskirts of town, so some of the island developments where the development has been approved miles outside of the city, that development will never be able to pay the taxes on the roads and the sidewalks and the garbage trucks and the cruisers to run some of those. Those are bad decisions. Those are bad decisions because they bankrupt the city. Slowly, but eventually they bankrupt a city. And so tools like that are able to identify areas and patterns of development where we go, this is good for the city of Statesville. We should do more of that. And it's also going to help us identify areas that are bad for the city of Statesville. And aesthetically, we can also feel that. Because how many times has somebody said, we don't want to end up like Brawley School Road. We don't want to end up like 150. We don't want to be Huntersville. We don't want to be. So everybody's able to see, even if you don't have a degree in civil engineering, even if you don't, if you're not interested in urban planning, you know what you like and you know what you don't like. And Statesville has an opportunity to look down 77 and we see a lot of what we don't like. So we have an opportunity to learn from other people's mistakes. And I think that's a huge component about the growth that people have seen and what we're going to want to see in the future.
Excellent. Thank you. And just watching time too, a couple more questions we'd like to answer.
You're saying I'm filibustering.
Yeah,
I get you.
Yeah, you're a talker, so that's all good. We'd love to hear it, but I want to make sure we get your questions in.
Of course.
As a council member, how would you go about working with your peers, the other council members and the mayor, et cetera, to get things done?
So the nice thing and the cool thing that we've got going forward is mayor and council is 9 people. There are going to be 5 to 6 new faces on that dais. And so a number of them are younger faces. We all share a very similar energetic, exciting vision for what the future of the city is going to look like. And so we already share a similar vision. Working together is easy because we already work together right now. You've got a number of those people who are already involved heavily in other civic functions. We already work together. So the first and most important thing is that we share a vision for the city of Statesville. And so what you certainly have already figured out is that I have a vision for the city of Statesville going forward. And sharing that vision, building consensus, and then moving forward in a clear direction, that's what leadership looks like. And that's how Statesville becomes a leader, not only within this county, but within this region. And so clear, dynamic leadership, that's what it's going to look like, and that's going to move us not only together as a city, but it's going to move us forward within our region as well.
Excellent. Okay. One last question for you, Trey. What do you think the city does well from a service provision standpoint, and what are its most glaring needs?
So in terms of its most glaring needs, I'll circle back to an earlier question. Is we do a very good job of, we pull water from two rivers. How many cities can say that? But we don't have 2 bank accounts to manage the future infrastructure requirements of maintenance and expansion for those. And to explain it a little bit better, we've got amazing tools at our disposal, but have we set aside the money for expansion of those and for future maintenance of those? The answer is no. We don't have that. And so making sure that we appropriately set rates, making sure that we bring in industry, because those are the 3 platform planks I run on. Is we're going to attract industry, which is the property taxes and the jobs that are going to be able to pay for all this. We're going to control sprawl, which is the other side of the balance sheet. We're not going to spend money on non-cash flow positive development projects, and we're going to improve infrastructure. And that's where this one comes in, is we're going to make sure we've got the money set aside so that when the pipes need to be replaced, when the plants need to be expanded, we have the money, we can write the check, and we don't have to raise taxes, and we don't have to raise rates. And that's a quality of life issue right there. Because if retirees or fixed income people in our community, they can't afford for us to raise taxes or raise rates whenever we realize that we didn't budget appropriately. And so that level of no-nonsense, business-oriented government management, that's what you're going to get from Trey Robertson on City Council.
Okay. And that last question was duplicate, so we appreciate you elaborating a little more. Apologies for that, but I do want to give you just a couple minutes to sum up for everybody why they should vote for you.
Sure. So what you're going to get from me is you're going to get, and I mentioned those 3 platform planks already, is I want everybody to have the opportunity that I had. They can come back to their hometown, or they can stay in their hometown. They can get a great job. They can buy a home. They can raise a family. They can stay near their family in their hometown. And we do that by industrial development. We're bringing in good jobs, and we're bringing in good tax base. We're not going to approve unlimited sprawl. We're not going to do the same thing that every town south of us has done and pave over every forest, field, and farm to grow houses. We're not going to do that. That's not what people of Statesville want. That's not what people of Iredell County want. And we're going to retain the unique small town character of Statesville. And we're going to improve infrastructure. We're going to make sure that people who have paid taxes their entire life into the city of Statesville don't have to deal with broken sidewalks and street lights that don't work. We're going to make sure that this is a beautiful place, a well-maintained place, and a functioning place to live. And that's something that seems to excite people, because everybody just wants their city government to work. And so if you vote Trey Robertson on November 4th, that's the kind of government you're going to get. It may not be the coolest thing, but it's the thing that works. And you don't want to have to think about city government. When you turn on the light switch, you just want it to work. And that's what the city government under Trey Robertson is going to look like. Excellent.
Trey, we thank you for your energetic comments, and we look forward to the outcome of this election. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much.
Yes.